Let's go. Call the meeting order. Please rise for this pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Village Clerk, please call roll.
Burgess. Here. Jones. Here. Myers. Here. Bates. Washington. Here. Williams. Here.
Alrighty. Move to public comment. All questions and comments will be directed to the mayor. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to comment on any topic. Each speaker will be allowed 1 opportunity to speak. Could you please state your name for the record?
Attorney Brewer on behalf of Sauk P.L.A.N. And I'm glad to see the attorney here, because I would like to address that and also this question, also the attorney. According to the mayor, there's an Illinois state statute that keeps, that justify keeping the village treasurer on board. And we like to know what the Illinois state statute keeps referring to as never gave us a copy. And also, I'd like each trustee to answer why they haven't called that to a vote, why we paying a part-time, no contract employee who has been not in the village, not doing work. He's on residents look to pay their salary. We want to know why, what Illinois state statute to justify that, and why the trustee has not called that to a vote to find out what's going on with that village trustee. My second question is that, according to the audit report, there was $3.3 million in the water fund, and recently we've been told there's about $500,000 left. We want to know, especially since Ms. Williams is on the phone, Trustee Williams, we'd like to know what happened to the $2.5 million. We want specific answers to what bills and what salary was paid out of this money. We'd like to know where our money is. And my third, the last question is that, according to last year's budget, $335 million was added to the budget for Parks and Rec, yet no money was given to Parks and Rec. So we'd like to know where it happened to that grant money. We also like to know what happened to the $43,000 worth of perks that was never voted on. And we also would like to know what happened to $36,000. So I'd like everybody to have in and tell us where our money is.
All right. Do you want to discuss?
As far as the treasurer, I don't know the name of the act right now. I can get you a copy of it, but the treasurer cannot be removed without being convicted of an offense. He's not been convicted yet. I can tell you also that the village can bring an administrative hearing to have him removed, but since there's an ongoing investigation with a number of agencies, it would be improper for this board to have a hearing where witnesses would be testifying under oath, which could jeopardize the investigation of state and federal investigators.
Okay, I'll mean this state statute, so we're going to get that next time.
And I'll give it to the clerk. I just don't know the name or the number of, off the top of my head.
Next question. Ms. Trustee Williams, I guess, over there, since she's on the budget committee. And we want to
The questions are directed to the mayor, okay? Just wait. Okay?
this is the mayor.
All right.
Yes, and I
Okay.
have all the trustees chime in,
And we talk about the money in the water fund. We talk about the amount that was there. That's from the last budget year. There is money that's borrowed throughout the year to run the day-to-day operations for the village. So that money is put back in as the revenues are coming back. So we just got them putting back how much? $350,000 are just transferred back into the water fund yesterday. So as the money comes back, as the money tax revenue comes back in, we put those funds back into the water fund. Again, it's used as a resource, nothing different than any other community in the state of Illinois. It's something that we're allowed to do, and it's something that probably majority of the communities use those funds to help day-to-day operations, as there is middle parts of the year where we receive no funds. We all know, we've talked about this many times, and I've discussed this many times. You stand at the podium. We get a chunk of funds that come in the beginning of the year. We get a chunk of funds that come in the end of the year. So now here we are at the beginning of the year. We're starting to see those revenues come back in. We pay those funds back. So, and I have nothing tonight. So, all right, I have nothing to present tonight. So So you just asked the question. Ms. Burrow, this is not a comment, back and forth.
Are you going to give us an itemized list of what the money was spent on? We know what you said is back. We want to know what was spent on. What salaries and bills were the money spent on? You got to know what you paid, what you used it for.
Okay. All right. Okay. All righty. So, I don't have any answers right now. I mean, you just came up with asking questions. I don't have the answers off the top of my head. So, all right, I'll have the village clerk pull those for me, and we'll see what we can provide. All right.
Judy, before I ask my questions, I wanted to give some clarification. I wasn't at the previous meeting, and I understand that there were some questions about Parks and Recreation and the Easter egg hunt. I would like the board to know that I met with Trustee Jones in December, explained to him what the plan group did with the Parks and Rec.
Is the mic on? Or? And when you're standing in the middle, it sounds like you're talking really loud, but the people in the back cannot hear you.
Okay.
There you go.
I met with Trustee Jones in December, explained to him what the P.L.A.N group did previously with Parks and Recreation and how we dealt with the Easter egg hunt, and tried to find out if this was something he would be interested in, and he was. I then told him I was going away for the holidays and would be back in the beginning of January, and we needed to get together and get things rolling. When I got back from my time away, we met, him and I did, and then we met as a group with his Parks and Recreation people as well as the P.L.A.N group, and we did plan and get things rolling for the Easter egg hunt. Nobody was waiting until the last minute. I refused to do that. The only hitch in it was when you decided you were going to remove Mr. Jones from the Parks and Recreation, and at that point I told him P.L.A.N group would go on one way or another, with or without the Parks and Recs, and with or without the community center. So when he got word that he's sticking around, we moved forward and everything is on the spot. The Easter egg hunt will go on as we planned it. The date has been set, everything is in place. Now, my question is, some time ago at a meeting I was here, and the village approved money for computers for the police cars, as well as some kind of software for dispatching out of town. And I want to know if that's ever been dealt with. What is our police department using? Do they have the computers in the car? Are they active and working? And what's happening with that? I have not talked to any police officers or the chief. I wanted to know from you if they were obtained and what's happening with them. Is P.L.A.N working with the new software, or are we still waiting for that to get active? Secondly, for the attorney, we understand that as far as the finance goes, that with an investigation and everything, there are things that you can't do. We understand that, but we do not understand with a part-time person why he can't be on unpaid administrative leave until you find out. If he's found not guilty, then we owe him money. But right now we're giving him money and we're never going to get it back.
Great. Your time is up. All right, thank you.
Sure.
Chief, go ahead.
I'll be more than happy to answer that. In fact, that one question is part of my report today, because we were just contacted by our IT person, and they started putting the computers in the cars. And P.L.A.N does use the same software program that we use. It's through Capers, which is, you know, everyone's adapted to it, and the officers seem to like it just well. So we're moving forward with that. There were some monetary issues and some software issues that had to be worked out, and we're moving forward now. So I hope that answers your question.
All right, and as for the Parks and Recs, I know there was questions asked about the Easter egg hunt, because there was no information on if they were still having it. I know there's a lot of questions from residents if we're still having it, but I did see that on the Parks and Recs last committee meeting, it was under new business under March the 3rd. So we are, if you had prior communications, there was no documentation. If you met with the committee, there was nothing, because on March 3rd, it fell under new business. It didn't fall under old business, it fell under new. So it's good to see that at least beginning of March that the Parks and Recs is looking to move forward. So, and then
Thank you.
I think the attorney has already addressed the issue about our village treasurer. Again, so move to next.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Edward Sullivan. I'm a member of the Parks and Recreation. I've been a committee member for years. Last meeting, at the committee meeting, I was asked to leave the building because I was out of order, which I wasn't out of order. I asked the trustee in charge that why did you have someone from Stager come out here to the village and register our youth to go back over to Stager and play baseball, where we can have our own baseball program here. He told me that he didn't have any diamonds. We do. We have 4 diamonds down here. He says that it's not ready. It can be ready if we get going and try to get the kids out here to play baseball. Another thing, I wanted him to start registering basketball. He doesn't want it anymore. He does not want basketball. He can say he does, but he doesn't. He made me chairman of that committee to make sure that we would have a basketball program, but then he took me off from it as chairman. And I'd like to find out what authority does he have to tell another committee member to leave the building and not come back.
Is that all you have?
That's all I have right now, yes.
Okay, Mr. Sullivan, we cannot and we will not respond to this tonight because you have put your complaint in writing. Your complaint has been turned over to the Attorney General for review. Again,
In other words, you can't say anything because...
I'm not going to say anything and we will not respond
understand.
to it. But we do have you part of the record, not only your written complaint, but now we also have you part of the complaint.
That's what I wanted. I want it on record. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Next.
This is Frank Harvey, part of SBCPA.
I'm sorry, can't hear you.
Part of SBCPA. I would like to remind you of something you probably don't know. Back before you decided you were going to run for mayor, this is what the young lady asked me a question. She said, who would be the best person to take this village forward? And I told her, I said, well, even though I wouldn't vote for it, it would be Mayor, it would be Hanks because it's his board. And right after that, they confronted you and asked you to run from there. That's one thing that I regret that I told her that. But I want to tell you one thing, there's a lot of people that do listen to me, even though you may think I'm stupid, but there's a lot of people listen to me when it comes to voting.
All right. Thank you. Next. All right. Seeing none, we'll move to reports of officers. Got the mayor's report. Oh, we got one? Okay, sorry.
Frank Williams, 1532-216, please. I have a question that, although a lot of people stand up here and accuse you of doing things, but I want to know, has anybody stood up here and offered you any suggestion to how to do different things here in the village and how to bring money into the village?
Sometimes I did.
You know what?
What I'm trying to say is that when we stand up here at this mic and keep accusing people of doing things and going on. Now, I had picked up a letter a few minutes ago from Sauk Village Informant, whoever that might be, and the language that they use in that letter is unheard of. Why do people that comes to this meeting, live in this village, have to go behind a disguised name to say something when they're talking about people? Be like me. What I got to say to you, I say it to your face. Whether you like me or not, I'm going to tell you to your face. That's what I look at. And as long as we keep doing what we're doing, and getting up here every Tuesday night accusing you, accusing the police what they're not doing, and we're not helping, you're not going to get it done. Now, Mr. Sullivan, sitting back there, I don't know what his plans are or how he plans to do it. But you know, and anybody that's been in this village for 15 or 20 years know we had a baseball team here. He just don't know how to do it. So, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I know he's going to worry me half to death, but I'm going to show him how to get that baseball team off the field. I'm going to show him how to get it started. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Anyone else? Oh, anyone? All right.
It's a little short for me.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, honorable trustees, I'm here tonight on behalf of the pastors and the churches of Sauk Village. We acknowledge the established procedure for requesting the use of the state-owned property at 1700 East Sauk Trail. Therefore, we're coming to you tonight to request your endorsement and in writing to the state of Illinois, because we would like to hold a sunrise service on Easter morning at 7 a.m. in that park. Now, we have approached the two closest residents in the past, and they have had no problem with that. I will go before them again and request the use of that property and get their approval, since they are the ones that might be put out by it. Our speaker plan for that day is Pastor Elijah from the City of Praise Church, located at 223rd and Cornell. All village residents are welcome and encouraged to attend. No fees are requested in any manner. We just ask that you bring your lawn chair. Thank you.
All right. Trustee.
Excuse me, Pastor Hall, is that like a sunrise service, a prayer service?
It's an interdenominational service. There will be praise.
What time?
7 a.m. till about 7:45.
Okay.
It seems at that time most people break and go to breakfast and then to their own churches for
All right.
Thank you.
All right, I'll get you a letter. I have no problem signing off on it, so I'll get you a letter. All right. Move to reports of officers. Got mayor's reports. I have tonight 2 proclamations. All right. First one I have here is proclamation for Travis Thornhill. Whereas, I get the wrong one. Sorry. Whereas the Thornhill family was one of the original families that moved to Sauk Village in 1965, and whereas Travis and his lovely wife LaGay have celebrated almost 51 years together, enjoying hobbies that include fishing, bowling, and golf. Whereas Travis was a longtime Cubs fan and University of Alabama football fan. Roll Tide. All right. Whereas Travis joined the Sauk Village Volunteer Fire Department in 1965, where he was quickly promoted to the rank of engineer. In 1968, and later promoted to the rank of lieutenant in 1970 by Fire Chief Leroy Hawkins. And whereas Travis later earned the rank of captain in 1979, and in just over a year, Travis rose to the rank of assistant chief in 1980. Whereas Travis was promoted once again to the rank of chief in 1992 after showing that he had excellent leadership qualities. And whereas Travis was instrumental piece to the Sauk Village Fire Department over the next several years until he retired in year 2002. Strength and compassion throughout his 38 years of service. And whereas Travis leaves behind his loving wife LaGay and dear companion, their Sitsu Dali, who will miss him dearly. And whereas, now therefore, the mayor and the board of trustees, on behalf of the Sauk Village Fire Department, residents, and staff extend their condolences to Travis's family and friends. It was dated February 25th, 2016. So, there she is back there. All right, the second proclamation we have here is for Art Johnson, known as the ESDA Man. Okay. Art's with us also. So, whereas Art Johnson moved to Sauk Village in 1964 and joined the Emergency Service Department agency, which is known as ESDA, in September of 1981. And whereas Art has served Sauk Village in many capacities, ranging from Unit 1133 Coordinator in 1981 until his promotions to Corporal in March of 1983, Sergeant in September of 1985, and Chief of Traffic and Security in August of 1986. And finally, his appointment of Director of the, finally, his appointment of Director, the position he currently holds. And whereas, as in, I'm just going to spell this out, IESMA, okay, ISMA member since 1981. Art has amazed a huge array of certificates of training, including emergency planning, development, and managing volunteers, introduction to incident command, leadership and influence, basic incident command systems, emergency preparedness, NIMS, 50-hour basic police procedures, emergency response to terrorism, professional development series, and severe weather spotter, just to name a few. And whereas Art, along with other department heads and village staff, created the Sauk Village Emergency Operations Plan in 2006 that is still in effect today. And whereas Art facilitated the transition of the Sauk Village Emergency Services Disaster Agency to the Sauk Village Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, effective on June 25th, 2013. And whereas Art always took his job as a first responder very seriously, and as director of the department, he employed his excellent leadership qualities by encouraging others to do the same. And whereas Art has announced his retirement from the Sauk Village Homeland Security Agency to be effective as of March 15, 2016. And whereas Art will always be remembered effectively by some as the ESDA Man. And whereas the Village of Sauk Village would like to acknowledge Art Johnson for his dedication and compassion through his 35 years of service. And whereas now therefore the Mayor and the Board of Trustees, on behalf of the Sauk Village Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, residents and staff extend a fond farewell to Art and Sue, who have been married since 2001, as they prepare to spend much needed time in the sun with their grandkids. Dated this 8th day of March, 2016. that said, we'll move to the village clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's a lot of information that's available for the March 15th primary election. It's been posted on the Sauk Village email alerts as well as the Sauk Village official information Facebook page. The Sauk Talk hopefully will be out by Friday, so the Sauk Talk will also be available at the library and the Village Hall and online. Important things to know is that first day of early voting was February 29th. March 10th is the last day to request a mail ballot, including military and overseas. Last day of early voting will be March 14th. Last day of grace period registration and voting will be March 14th. Election day is March 15th. There's information about disabled voter programs, overseas and military voters, how to apply for a mail ballot, nursing home and hospital voting, and there's also information on the locations where you can go to early vote. The closest place to early vote is at the Linwood Senior Center, and there's also one in Park Forest, there's Markham, there's downtown, there's over 40 locations where you can early vote. And also there will be information on how you can vote by mail at the front desk. Polling place information available for March 15th will also be in the Sauk Talk and listed on these free Sauk Village email alerts and the free official Sauk Village information place Facebook page. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you, Village Clerk. Move to Village Attorney, Attorney Mike McGrath.
Thank you, Mayor. No report.
Again, move to Village Engineer, Mr. Zarnik.
Thank you, Mayor. No report.
Thank you. Move to Village Administrative Director of Public Safety, J.W. Fairman.
Mr. Mayor and Board of Trustees, our report started with, I want to reiterate that our crime report for the last 2 months, the first 2 months of this fiscal year did, in fact, drop by 4%. With reference to our vacant housing master list as of March 4th, it showed that we have 25 vacant homes, and that the village's master vacant list has been reduced by 18 since my last report to the board. Each of these reductions will show an approximate annual income water sewer utility tax of $750 per vacant house that comes into compliance. The above mentioned 18 represent an additional amount of annual income of about $13,500 a year. We, the staff and myself, will be meeting with the scavenger contract tomorrow to determine collection points, adjust past bill as relates to vacancies and work out other collection-related matters. The current billing rate is $33.50 by month. Water accounts. We are currently updating our water accounts for people owing for $400 or more, and that will be reported at the next, hopefully at the next board meeting. We have terminated the water accounts sent for lien, and 30 of those accounts have been sent, and liens will be in place against them. I want to note that we are making a recommendation that residents or owners who turn on water at the depot, out of other words, that shut it off, will be subject to arrest or misdemeanor for theft of services. Note, it should be noted that more than 75% of the village's occupied residential homes pay their water, sewer, and utility bills on time and without complaint. Less than 10% of the remaining 25% have a valid reason as to why their payments are in arrears. And those individuals are given consideration and work out plans for payment to come into compliance. We've also gone further and looked at the surrounding villages about turn-on fees for water. We're recommending that we'll be presenting this document to Trustee Myers and the other board members that after our water turn-on fees be increased to $250, before our turn-on fees be increased to $200, these figures are consistent with most municipal fees of this type. Most turn-on fees are paid by rehabbers or individuals that were identified in the 50% of arrears account that had no valid reason for non-payment. The other issue we recommend is that the board approve a staff request of $14,000 to update the city's water, sewage, and utility tax computer system. Updating the system will give the employee greater ease at identifying and dealing with the arrears in a timely manner, which will, in due course, pay for the upgrade. Miscellaneous things we're doing. We also, I and staff members are working on OWN Group to update the employees manual, and we're also working with the OWN Group to reduce the workers' comp costs from the OWN Group, where they're going to train we are looking at ourselves, the employees, to see if they're in arrears. And if they are in arrears, we're going to have them bring their accounts up to date. Finally, Mr. Mayor, the budget, as you know, staff are in the final stage of reviewing the annual budget with the mayor, and he will comment on that first. Mr. Mayor, that concludes my report.
All right, thank you very much. Trustee? Trustee?
Yes, Mr. Fairman, what is the current rate for turn-on fees right now?
We'll see what?
What is the current rate right now that we charge for turn-on fees if you have to have your water turned on?
It's $25 up until 3 o'clock, and then after hours it's $75.
Okay, so you're asking to go from 75 to 200, correct?
That's the recommendation.
And also for the upgrade for the water and sewer software. Are you asking to upgrade and update the present software or to go out and purchase new?
Yeah, we're talking about getting updated software. We're going through this manually, and then we're not being able to get that information on a faster basis. And at the collection rate that we're going, which is appropriate, we think it will pay for itself within a year or less.
Do you have any numbers?
I have the $14,000.
That's okay, and that will take care of everything. What about installation?
The specific trustee purchase and water sewer, water sewer, and what the other issue? Water and utility tax. So we can get that information faster. We won't be relying and sometimes making mistakes on these bills.
Okay, and that was going to be my next question because I thought that was going to be my next question. I thought that utility tax would cover that.
Well, with the rate that we've been accepting, getting paid, sewer, water, and utility tax, it hasn't been enough to pay for very much.
Okay, reason why I'm asking is are you talking about raising money or raising rates or something to cover this, or are you just talking about taking it out of the water fund to cover the software?
I'm not talking about raising any rates. I'm talking about specifically, points that you've asked a couple times, about our billing. We're trying to get much more efficient with the billing stuff. We're making agreements with people who are behind to get into compliance. And we need this information to be able to, we don't have the staff, to do it manually. And we think it will pay for itself within a year.
Okay, because I heard you say that you only get so much from people that are paying, and we're still losing out. So I was just wondering, are you talking about trying to either raise or, I mean, it is what it is when it comes that way as far as having, we're going to get the money in, like you stated, 75% each and every month. But I'm just looking at the utility tax that we have now, and I don't know if you can answer that question or Mohan can answer that question. Where does that money go? That's on, because your utility tax is based on your usage. In other words, what your water bill is, and we all know that the garbage bill stays the same. So your utility tax raises or lowers depending on what your bill is. And I'm just wondering, what do we use the utility tax now for? Because it's itemized on your bill, so what do we use it for now?
Well, your question is multi-use. First of all, utility tax, we don't have the actual number. We can break it down to you, the actual numbers in terms of total amount. Mr. Mohan will answer the other part of this question.
Approximately about 55,000 is generated by water sewer utility tax that is shared 50% towards utility tax fund account plus there is a separate utilities tax fund account. 50% of 55,000 will go to that account, and another 50% of 55,000 will go to general fund account.
Okay, so that, because I'm just looking at some of those things, updating software and things that are being used, personnel or whatever, that's part of the water. That utility tax is the sewer and the water fund. I'm sorry, the sewer and the water bill. And it shouldn't be a problem. It's just that bringing it up to use or utilize that money to purchase that software would probably be the only thing that the board could do. But the money should be there for that if it hasn't been used for anything else. But that utility tax money, unless it is itemized for something else, it should be there.
Remember, the utility tax fund account is only for the purchase of capital equipment and/or software that we can upgrade to.
Okay, I mean, that I'm just saying, we should, you know, that shouldn't be a problem. We should be able, 14,000 should be easy to come out of the utility tax fund.
I have a question.
Trustee.
Mr. Fairman, there was something that was put out, I would imagine a couple of weeks ago, that talked about discontinuing service regarding water for delinquent bills and that type of thing. And as I read it, it did not appear to take into consideration the provisions that the Joint Commission has for being able to discontinue water service. So my question is, has either you or the ordinance committee, both trustees are present, have you considered taking into consideration what the guidelines are before you start discontinuing water service?
Yes, sir, I have. As a matter of fact, I've got communication back and forth with Matt Vernon, who will be adjusting that to make sure it complies with all the rules of, you know, we're not cutting people's water off in the wintertime when it's like, you know, freezing, but we're going to spell out more distinctly, and he's going to talk to me again and lay it out. He has something here for me to review right now, but I'll have it ready for the next meeting.
All right, thank you very much.
All right. Seeing nothing else, move to reports of trustees and board committees. We have beautification committee. And the report for the beautification committee is the committee would meet, the beautification committee meeting has been moved to March 18th at 10 a.m. here at the Village Hall. The committee has several events coming up. On May 21st will be the annual spring clean sweep. And on June 4th, there's a craft and flea market that will be held at the community center. Details forthcoming on both of these events. And here's a report for the beautification committee. Move to Parks and Recs committee, Trustee Jones.
First of all, I'd like to thank all of the volunteers that help and come out each and every time that we have any event. Without your help, none of these activities would exist, and the community thanks you. The open gym, that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the volunteers. And I thank you, and the kids had a great time. I think it was something that we need to implement at least once a month. So we're gonna try to work on getting that off once a month. Had a lot of good feedback from that. And next coming up, we have I have on the back table and in the hallway, hot off the press, flyers for the Sauk Village annual Easter egg hunt. The Easter egg hunt will be Saturday, March 26th, from 11 to 2 p.m. There will be light refreshments and photo ops with the Easter Bunny. And this is in partnership with the P.L.A.N group. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you very much. Move to Public Works, Trustee Burgess.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we spoke, you and I asked you about trying to meet to find out from you what it is that you expect us as a committee, so I can not overstep, not step on someone's shoes, but I need to find out, because as I stated before, I asked Kevin Weller to attend, and that was blocked. So what I need to find out today, why I need, because you told me that we needed to have 2 sets of agendas and 2 sets of minutes in order to have the meeting. Now, you stated that the committee meeting itself was between myself and the co-chair. Okay, but if I have myself and the co-chair there, and someone's got to take the minutes, and we have to put an agenda together for just that meeting. I still like to know where that came from, that you have to have separate agendas. Why could we just encompass it all in one, as we've done years and years ago since I've been a trustee up until this year? And however, we were told that you can't meet 2 trustees and the mayor at the same time. Then you told me that I can go to his office during the day since I'm retired and talk to him about what we need to do. But then again, you wrote the letter back in last year stating that we can't take the department heads out of their normal work, and we have to go through either Mr. Fairman or yourself to talk to them. And then you also stated that Mr. Weller couldn't come to the meetings because it's at night. Those are the things I'm trying to find out from you, what it is that we can do. As you stated, I'm retired, so I need to find out from you when is a good day to talk. I don't know how we're going to do all three of us there at the same time, or we can do it now or whatever, but it has to happen before we can do anything, because going back and forth, changing this, changing that, taking this over, I have a report for something, someone reports it before I do. I'm not going to waste anybody's time that way. So this month, and we're not going to be able to have a meeting until I find out exactly what's going on, how you want this done, because I didn't see anything that states that we had to, that we get reimbursed for a meeting for just me and my co-chair. I mean, in the past, it's always been you have your meetings, which you were, the trustee was in charge, and that's it. So until I can get some clarification, I can't go anywhere. I'm tired of doing this and then coming back and then someone is, stepping in the way of blocking it. So I'm asking you today that I need to find out what schedule you have between now and the end of the meeting, that we can sit down and go over this so we can find out exactly, so I won't have this problem again. And I see that you changed the letters, or the compensation letters, to have the co-chair. So I'm asking the question, if the co-chair is not there for your meeting, then the chairman won't get paid for that meeting. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So if the co-chair decides that they don't want to be there at that meeting, they're not there, so the chairman and the rest of the committee is the committee of the whole subcommittee, but the chairman of that committee, that co-chair can stop that chairman of the committee from getting his compensation.
That's correct.
Okay.
In fact, the entire board knows that because it happened with the finance committee just not too long ago.
Okay,
So
I'm just saying,
co-chair refused to meet.
But if you have a rift between the two, then your co-chair can stop you from doing getting any type of compensation, but they can still get their compensation from the committee that they chair, if their co-chair shows up.
All I can say about it is, everyone here is adults. Get over it and work together. You're not here for yourself.
No, you're
here
not.
for the residents.
But you're not here for, you're absolutely right. You're not here for yourself.
So get over your personal differences and work for the residents.
It has happened.
Well,
it just happened. And I'm just asking, because that's not fair to whoever is chairman of that meeting, that if the co-chair doesn't want to show up, for whatever reason it may be, they don't show up, they know that their chairman is not going to get compensated. And I think that's wrong.
Trustee, I agree 100%. It is wrong. We've seen it already happen this year.
I've seen it just happen.
So, but
I've seen it just happen. But I'm just asking. So
it's wrong not just for the chair. It's wrong for the residents. If trustees cannot work together and come and put your committees together and have things happening. The village board passed the ordinance. The ordinance is very clear, number one. If you need to get copies of the ordinance, go online, get copies of it, and request it from the village clerk. Read through it again. Everyone up here, I think, passed it. I have to look and see who all passed it, but it passed through this board, this current administration. Secondly, I am here almost every single night at 5 o'clock. And some nights I get here before 5 o'clock. So depending on if I have meetings other places. So if you have a night after 5 o'clock you want to meet, you can throw some dates out. I'm not going to set stuff up here, but I know that there is some South Spur Mayors and Managers meetings that I'm going to this next week.
So I won't know. That's what I'm saying. I won't know when.
I'm here. I'm here tomorrow night, 5 o'clock.
Okay, I'll be here tomorrow night at 5. Now, what about the fact that we have a co-chair? How do you want to do that?
All I can say is, if you're a chair of a committee and your co-chair is not working, you need to come talk to me. That's what happened with
I'm asking, how do we meet? The chair and co-chair meet with you.
Well, I don't know if the co-chair and the chair really needs to meet with me. If the chair has got some questions, come and meet with me, and then they can go back and talk to their co-chair. Why do I need to talk to both trustees at the same time? If you're the chair should be able to get all the questions
But you formed it that way, so therefore it would be that way. That's what you formed it as, two people being in charge of a certain committee. You formed it that way. So you're saying that I would have to have another meeting with the co-chair after I talk to you rather than take it all at one time. In other words, have the meeting at one time, like I was asking about the meetings, period. You know, I'm not going to have people to come out, or you wait there for a minute or whatever, and then, you know, you come at a later time at 5:30 or 6 o'clock we can do this, and 6:30 we have the meeting. You know, that's something that I really didn't understand, but we can talk about that. But as far as talking to the co-chair, at the time, I think the co-chair needs to be there also, so we don't have to go back and back and forth, because they may have some questions for you, the co-chair.
Again, it's important that you go back and read the ordinance. The ordinance was not made up. The ordinance follows other communities that have the same type, and there's a lot of other communities. This was pretty much already pre-made. It was pulled from other communities. Because
we never had this before, Mayor.
So, and again, it's new.
No, we never had it. We've had, you know yourself, you were in charge of your housing committee. That was it. You came back and reported to the board, and if you needed something to be voted out, you asked for a vote from the board. You didn't have a co-chair. I don't know. I still don't understand what that does, but that's what you stated. But I think the co-chair should, if he's a co-chair, he takes his time out as a trustee to come out. I think he may have questions. Rather than ask them to me, then I go back and ask you, and then come back and tell him. I mean, I'll be here 5.
Yeah, we'll meet tomorrow 5 and then we'll go over it. Because
I just don't. I don't know if I don't think I did agree to that, because simple reason, it being we had 6 trustees, we had 6 committees. Because you have some people that are on 3 committees. Some people that are on, 3. You have one person that's on 3 committees. One is chair, 2 is co-chair.
Right. Again, go back and pull your ordinance, read your ordinance. It makes it very clear about standing committees. It makes it very clear about subcommittees and how everything is supposed to be ran. So,
but there was nothing that states that that you have to do it this way. I mean, everything could be amended, but I'm just bringing it to your attention that, and I don't think I did vote on that part, because that right there is something that we've never done, and why would we even try to start doing that? But I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right.
Question.
Trustee.
Mayor Hanks.
Yes, trustee.
The standing committee is when the 2 trustees meet. That's the meeting that they get compensated for, the chair. Is that correct?
Standing committee is 2 trustees.
Okay.
Correct.
So when they meet with their committee members, that is not the meeting where they are not going to be paid if the co-chair, for whatever reason, does not show up. Is
correct.
that correct? Okay.
In fact, a subcommittee is not paid at all. It makes it very clear inside the ordinance.
Right. Okay. Second of all, if 2 trustees did need to meet with you so that they could both have clarity on whatever the conversation is about, couldn't they let the notice be in enough time that they could post it so that it would be in the vestibule or at the library on the webpage, so that it would not be a violation of the Opens Meeting Act? If they posted that they were meeting with you, couldn't not they both be there then?
It would have to be a meeting.
It would be a meeting.
But it can't be a meeting with the mayor's office. It would have to be a meeting.
An open meeting.
Okay, so then they could meet out here, not meet back there. And then they can meet with the 2 trustees, the co and the chair, to discuss what they both may feel that they want to discuss with the mayor.
Properly posted.
Okay.
And if everything falls underneath the Opens Meeting Act.
Right, so that's fine, because I just want to say, for an example,
A majority of the quorum of this board requires a posting.
Right, but she's saying if the mayor, that the 2 trustees have posted the meeting accordingly, that the mayor, 2 trustees are going to meet regarding a specific committee, is that okay?
As long as it's posted, they can meet that way.
yes.
That makes it very clear.
There are times when the chair and the co-chair both do need to meet with the mayor at the same time. So as long as we want to meet with him, as long as we post it in enough time, we can meet with him out here in the rotunda, but not in his office. And as long as the chair and the co-chair meet and have their meeting, that's the meeting that the chair gets paid for, not when he's meeting with his entire committee with both people present. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, you did tell me that if they meet that way, there has to be an agenda for that meeting and minutes.
There has to be, correct, it has to be properly posted.
I mean it has to be an agenda for that meeting that the chair and the co-chair have.
Correct.
And then also you say it has to be minutes for that meeting. And my question is, can we use the same minutes that we use, an agenda that we use to have our meeting?
Hang on, trustee. We got trustee Burgess has got the floor.
I'm saying, can we use this, because I've asked that question and I think you did say yes, we can. Can we use the same agenda that we have for committee of the subcommittee in the minutes to submit, even though it's just the two that are talking? We can talk in front of our committee, correct? Can we discuss?
I think there has to be an understanding, okay? The standing committee is one committee, that's two trustees they meet.
Yes.
Okay? Now, there comes times, and the ordinance makes it very clear, that a standing committee will need a subcommittee. Subcommittee are made up of volunteers from the village. They have to be village residents, okay? Those subcommittees are the ones that help maybe put on events. They're the ones that say there's something between the trustees that you can't figure out. You may call for a subcommittee to help bring a recommendation back to the standing committee. They're not, subcommittees are at the whim, if you want to call it, I can't remember the exact wording here, at the chair of the standing committee, so the standing committee can call for a subcommittee with the agreement of the co-chair, and those subcommittees would help with things like, I guess you could say, like, let's use the Ordinance Review Committee. Ordinance Review Committee has got trustee Myers and trustee Williams. They may look at an ordinance, and maybe they can't get to a point where the two of them can get an ordinance in place, and they still have questions. They'll look to the Ordinance Review Committee to review it and come back and make recommendations to them. It's with every single committee. Every single committee up here can present an ordinance, okay? But it takes both the chair and the co-chair to be in agreement to present it, okay? It talks about the responsibilities, okay? Which I'm not going to cover again. Look at the ordinance. I know that we talked about, and I said I thought almost everyone passed this ordinance, because I have the ordinance sitting right here in front of me. The only one that voted against it was trustee Tates. All trustees, all the other 5 trustees voted in favor of this ordinance. So, I mean, there was discussion prior to voting on it. Everyone has had this ordinance. If you don't remember what it says, I would encourage you to grab it, read it again. If you get a chance, skim through it tomorrow before we meet. And then, you know, I don't have this thing memorized, but since it's been such a contentious recently, I've come to know which page I have to look at when something comes up. But I can't quote it word for word.
No, but my question, Mayor, is this. Why do we need 2 meetings on the same night? Can the one meeting that we have with our subcommittee be the meeting that we can present the agenda to the clerk and also the minutes to the clerk of that meeting?
Let's talk about it tomorrow night. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Anything else? All right. Move to.
No, I'm sorry. Also, there will not be a Public Works meeting tomorrow. There will not be a Public Works meeting tomorrow. Thank you.
All right. Move to Housing Intergovernmental Committee, Trustee Tates.
We had intended on having a workshop on March 2nd. As I had explained, we had tried to put a workshop together so we can educate realtors and loan officers and that type of thing with regards to assisting people in obtaining homes who want to be home buyers. That did not happen on March 2nd. Therefore, this month, we're going to go back and have our housing and intergovernmental meeting on March 31st. And then we're going to try to finalize some plans to have the workshop, which probably would occur in April. We're not sure of dates yet, but we're going to meet again on March 31st and do some more planning and move forward, since our first plan did not take place. That's all I have.
Thank you, Trustee. Move to Public Safety Ordinance Review Committee, Trustee Myers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few items tonight. First of all, let me get this right now. The Public Safety Ordinance Subcommittee will meet Thursday night at 7 p.m. here at the Village Hall. Okay. Second, I'm asking for volunteers for the 4th of July parade and celebration. We're already drafted up a letter. We're already about ready to get that sent out. Then that will go off to all the business and off to the all over the area, inviting people to participate in our parade. And then third is we had a late night fire Sunday night and on another vacant house in town. And I'm urging the residents that if you see something suspicious around these vacant houses, get a hold of your neighborhood block captain if you don't want to call the police yourself. But we need to get a hold of our police and inform them that we have suspicious activity in these houses. It's a beautiful home that was totally destroyed, and the state fire marshal has deemed it suspicious and called. Fourth is March 20th, the fire department having a pancake breakfast, as we do every year, inviting all the residents here to come out and enjoy these pancakes with us. And Kevin, I have a question. After the fire, I went down and pulled up some of the rigs and everything. Have we thought about getting rid of any of those vaultable cars that you have set out there from various departments? I know usually we have a oxygen or a cell or off or something other. Does that look like we might have that? You're running out of room, son.
It was discussed, it hasn't happened yet, but it's been discussed. We will probably discuss something in the spring, because there's something coming. They often usually happen in the spring and the fall, so we might have a local one, might be a little bit easier for us to do.
Okay, JW, could you keep the board appraised of how that's going on? Because we got some cars over at the police department, our cars out of Public Works, and heaven only knows, we don't have another fire station yet. But still keep us alive on it too, sir. That's all I have, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee. Move to Neighborhood Watch, Trustee Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to announce that we will have our meeting as scheduled this coming Monday at 7 o'clock at the fire station. We are looking for Block Club captains. If anyone want to be a Block Club captain, you can see me or any of the Block Club captains after the meeting, or just show up at our meeting that we have at the fire station at 7 o'clock on Monday. We meet the second Monday of every month. Also, I'm very excited about the rehearsals for the play that we're getting ready for at Rickover Junior High School on April the 15th. Our flyers are in the back. They're in the stores. They're in the different places all over the village. You can pick up our flyers about the play. We do have a few scenes, but we do have a few actors or extras that can be in the play. So if you still want to try your hand at acting, you can come any Saturday to the community center and meet with us over there from 11 to 2:30. Also, I want to say to Ms. Thornhill, I'll give you my deepest condolences on your husband. Every time I talk to you or him, he was always very gracious, very nice. I attended that ceremony and it was with dignity and integrity, and I just want to personally give you my condolences on the loss of your husband. And I just want to say that at the play, all of the proceeds that we're raising is going to go for book bags. When we have our book bag giveaway, the Neighborhood Watch has pledged to give away 500 book bags this coming, returning back to school in August. And after the play is over, everyone that's in the cast of the play will be returning back to the community center to have a great celebration of food and pictures and different things like that. So if you want to be a part of the play, it's not too late to let me know. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee. Move to Budget, Finance, and Community Relations Committee, Trustee Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Budget and Finance Committee meeting that was scheduled for yesterday was canceled. We are still waiting, working with the Finance Department for the third quarter information. And as we stated previously, Mr. Mayor, you will be working on the budget to present to us sometime later this month. So if you could possibly let the committee know maybe a week ahead before you've done with your portion of the budget, so we can maybe schedule a meeting, that would be great. And also speaking of the budget, since we already in March, I don't know if, Mr. Mayor, if you have kind of come up with a calendar or a schedule of the budget and costs that we'll be having as a board. Well, I know I mentioned it before, but I know we have to be trustees, so assuming some dates in April, we're going to be looking at the budget. And with that being said, I have a question for Trustee Tate. I didn't know, based on the last school board meeting that I went to, The plan was for their intergovernmental committee to be working with the village's intergovernmental committee to discuss Student Government Day and how to move forward. I know that my committee reached out to the school board, and I still have gotten to this day and heard nothing. So I didn't know if Trustee Casey, you had heard anything since you were the chair of the intergovernmental committee.
I hope you can hear me. Yes?
Rosie, can you hear?
Yes.
Oh, okay. The school district has reached out, the intergovernmental committee has reached out and wanted to meet with us. We did not meet in February, and I'm going to extend an invitation for them to come to the meeting this month. Well, we're not only talking about Student Government Day, though. We're talking about just long-range planning for both entities to work together. But student government may, in fact, be one of the topics they want to discuss. I'm going to leave it open to them to tell us how they can best utilize the municipal resources. But that will occur this month.
Okay. If you could just keep me aware, and I know that you'll say when you're going to be having your meeting, but at this time they haven't responded to you from the letter that I sent myself sent to them, right?
The only thing I know about the letter is what you mentioned at the last meeting. I have not seen the letter, nor have I spoken to anyone about a letter.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. And then, like I said, tomorrow we will be meeting public relations committee to see if and when and how we will be proceeding with Student Government Day. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you very much, Trustee. Move to item 5, reports of departments, committees, and commissions. Fire Department 911 Commission, Chief Stuff Writer.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. Over the past 2 weeks, the fire department responded to 40 calls, 4 vehicle accidents, 8 fire alarms, 11 medical assist, 2 CO alarms, 2 smell gas, 9 assists to other agencies, 1 brush fire, 2 wires down. We had some activity over the weekend that was not included in my report, which will be brought up on the next board meeting. I don't like to add on to something I already doing my reports. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Chief. Move to Police Department, Chief Kowalski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, trustees. For the past 2 weeks, the police had 12 arrests, 4 felonies, 8 misdemeanors. We had 504 calls for service. Cases of note on February 29th at approximately 2:30, 2 subjects committed an aggravated carjacking with a handgun in Dalton. The victim was robbed of his wallet, cell phone, and his deceased father's car. The subjects proceeded to flee the area. The victim tracked his cell phone to Sauk Village, notified Dalton PD. Dalton PD contacted Calcom. The two worked together to dispatch the information to our officers. We were able to locate the car. There was a chase, ended up in a crash. The officers weren't quite behind them. Both of them fled the scene. One subject was apprehended. The other subject fled the area. Unfortunately, when the passenger was apprehended, he wouldn't give any information to the police. They checked the area. We contacted the Illinois State Police to call a helicopter out. They refused to bring out the helicopter because of conditions. We had a canine unit out. The dog couldn't track it because of the brush area. So the officers did what they could to try to find the second subject. After Dalton questioned the passenger, who still refused to give any information after several days, the second subject's mother contacted the Dalton Police Department to make a missing person report. Dalton recontacted us. We then contacted the Cook County Sheriff Forest Preserve Police, who conducted a cursory search. They couldn't find anything. The mother then recontacted us again, and that's when we put together an extensive search using the fire department and some of their equipment. at which time we found that second subject who was deceased. He was in a totally opposite end of the area where the first subject was found. And this is an ongoing case. Several different agencies are involved. Medical examiner is still conducting their toxicology report to determine the cause of death. On March 5th, officers were called to the 2500 block of Orion for domestic disturbance. When they arrived, there was an offender on the front lawn being held down. After interviewing the victim, they learned that the subject was an ex-boyfriend and had broken into her home. When she returned, he fought with her and her children. We were able to arrest him and secure home invasion charges, as well as aggravated domestic violence charges and several battery charges. On March 6th, officers were called to a reported strong arm robbery in the vicinity of 221st Street in Orion. Victim explained that 3 male black subjects in their 20s, one heavyset and one with dreadlocks, walked up to them and grabbed the female's purse. The male victim tried to intervene and was punched several times in the head and face area until he fell to the ground when they began to kick him. Then they ran from the scene. The victim, the male victim, was transported to St. Margaret's Hospital for the injuries he sustained. On March 6th, there was a reported arson, which we already spoke about. And today, investigator Grossman received a call from the Johnson County Sheriff's Office in Iowa City, Iowa, who stated that they were able to electronically track an Xbox 360 to Sauk Village. Detective Grossman secured a search warrant. They went to the property, and he in fact found the Xbox and arrested the person, the owner of the house, for possession of stolen property. I met with the community development manager for Sertoma Center. They're a community education and prevention program on mental health. Their goal is to educate, train as many people in the Bloom Township as possible on mental health issues. They were awarded a grant and are reaching out to first responders to offer this training. It's medical first aid, or mental first aid. We're exploring this training with other police departments, which I believe it would be a benefit to our officers and the other officers, as we all are aware of the Laquan McDaniel debacle in Chicago. We can never have enough of that training. We're also working with the fire department to get officers recertified in CPR training. We spoke about the laptops, which are already being installed in the police department. Thank you, Judy. Lastly, and unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, we were going to host a veterinary day at the police department. The doctor who volunteered, there's some issues with some of his partners. So we won't be having that, but we're working on having something similar to that. If individuals vaccinate their pets within a certain amount of time and they bring those records to the village, we can waive the tag fee. So we're working on that, and I'll provide you more information as we get it. Thank you. That's the end of my report.
Mr. Mayor, we leave. Ask Mr. Kowalski to explain. There's been some conversation about the homicide reference, this carjacking. I'd like for you to explain what that means.
So right now, this is a death investigation. It is not a homicide. Our investigative group, along with the Dalton Police Department, are working with the state's attorney's office to determine if charges can be filed for a homicide on the subject who was arrested, since he did not provide information which could have led to the apprehension and the saving of this individual who was found deceased. So right now, it's just a death investigation. It's not a homicide.
So is there a state law that allows the victim's cohort to be charged in such a way?
Yes, there is, and our village attorney would know about that. But that law right now is under scrutiny because they used it quite frequently, and there's some issues with that. So stay tuned.
All right.
Question.
Trustee.
Chief Kowalski, I received a few phone calls during this incident that you're speaking of, the carjacking from Dalton, et cetera. What action was taken? Did anyone from your office contact our school district to let them know? Because I have a wait of about 3 days. I received a call one day, and then I received a call like 3 days later that said they had found the body deceased. Was our school district notified during the interim so they could safeguard our students?
No, they were not. This was at early morning hours. There was no indication that this individual was still in the area when school would have started. So no, the schools were not notified during the day. For all we know, he took off and left the area. So we had no indication that he was there. He wasn't armed. The person who was armed was the passenger who we apprehended and found the handgun.
Well, the reason I'm asking that question, and you would know this, you weren't here, but a deceased, I think it was a female, was found in that general vicinity about 3 years ago, or something to that nature. But my question is that whether he was armed or not, no one would know that, but the school district, I'm pretty sure, still has procedures in place where they can take extra precautions because the children are walking back and forth to the various schools out here. So I'm just wondering if your department is going to review procedures and maybe include the school district in them when something happens that may affect them, that they can be put on notice, at least do whatever they need to do to safeguard our students.
Definitely. Every time we have something major like this, we sit around and brainstorm and do an after-action plan that, what could we have done better? What did we do good? So that's always on the forefront.
Thank you very much.
Chief, can you clarify one thing? I saw multiple reports about this. Can you clarify one thing? Was the individual found in Sauk Village limits or Cook County Forest Preserve?
Cook County Forest Preserve limits.
Thank you very much. All right, move to Public Works Director Kevin Weller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few items here. Street light program for new lights are all up. We have a few faults that we're starting to work on. We have a few street light poles that were knocked down during accidents. Unfortunately, not claiming we can't get any money from these individuals at this point. But we have Torrance Avenue in front of Rickover School. We have a street light pole going up over there. We have one at Carolina Drive across from 394. Also at 22132, which is the same location of the pole. We are going to be starting to dig the hydrant at that location. So we'll be replacing the fire hydrant over there too. Also, we have the 12 volts that we will start to work on day to day as weather conditions are allowing us. As long as there's no rain, we can be out there working on those. Currently, we also we are working with all departments. We have a little bit of runaround with some marquees we've been doing, but staff is working well with that. At this time, building location here in the village, our leak has been repaired, our drywall has been repaired, it's been repainted at this point. Hopefully we will not have any more problems. We still have some ongoing issues with our card reader and hoping to have that fixed within the next week or so here. Also, potholes, definitely a lot of them are opening up now. And we're starting to find some of the ones that we've been going over again. We are still moving around. We did go back over several streets, but the larger potholes, the direct complaints, Merrill, 218th, P.L.A.N, 217th Place, Orion, Jeffrey Avenue, 219th Place, and 217th Street. We'll continue to work on these. Also, next month we will be going into more permanent patch. So some of this temporary work will lead into that. So the bigger ones will be doing permanent patch work. Water, our water operations, we still have our day-to-day operations. We still get emergency calls. We did repair a water main break at 2450 to Landis. With the storm event we had a really quick settlement there, so we had to go back and fill the hole in. Resident called to let us know, so we filled that back in for them. We also completed our north side shutoff list, and then we also had staff go back out to do the turn-ons. So we're caught up on that. Again, we'll ask, I know we're going to be having a cleanup in Sauk Village, but I'll ask every single time that we'd like help from the villagers, every resident in town, to please help clean up around their homes, and definitely donate your time to the beautification to help clean up Sauk Village. Hydrant work, I just gave you the address at Torrance Avenue. That's going to be the first one. We will have another one that will be marked further down on Torrance, and we may consider doing them both at the same time. It's further on towards 223rd Street. Chappelle, we had a valve on Chappelle and 221st Street. We had a valve that we had to repair after a water main break on Chappelle. The valve is from the 90s. We've had a lot of problems with valves from 1990. All the bolts rot away. When we dug down to it, there's one of 5 bolts left in it. They just disappeared. We don't know what the problem is with them. All the new vendors use stainless bolts, or they're protected now with some other type of materials. Vehicles, we're definitely moving around trying to get all these vehicles worked on. It was brought up by somebody about possibly having the auction. We definitely have a lot of vehicles. We've been discussing the last few years the best way to approach that. I believe also we have some property that might be coming into that, so we might be doing a joint vehicle property, some type of thing like that. The discussions have been back and forth about whether having them in Sauk Village or trying to take them to one of the auction locations where we would best get our money back out of everything. Sanitary sewer complaints. In the last 2 weeks, we've had done our regular list that we go around and we check. We have a bi-weekly or monthly list we check. We had 2 locations that we did locate some material in the benches. It was cleaned up. The sewers were open. We did have 2 complaints from residents of sewer calls. And anytime you have a sewer complaint, call the village first. So if the main is up, we'll take care of it. But unfortunately, these were both homeowner issues. We gave them a little bit of information on what they may be able to do, and we did discuss with them that we do have the sewer program. Weather events, we definitely had some storm events. Staff was out. We did our center passes, and then after the event, what we did was we returned further in the morning, so that in the morning when traffic started to move around, we came back at 5 o'clock. Everything was cleaned up for morning traffic, so everything went well. Storm sewers, staff will be out definitely cleaning after any storm event. During this time of the year, we do have a lot of paper debris catching the manholes. So another thing coming, summer's coming, cutting your grass in the street, please do not do that. Please do not dump the debris in the street. It will clog the manholes and it will flood streets, and residents do not like that. And that concludes my report.
Thank you.
Question.
Trustee.
There was a tree limb, rather large tree limb, knocked down back in the winter, early part of the winter, on Brookwood and 223rd, and you came out and cut it, and now that it's warming up, I was just wondering, when is the first date that you may come shred it, because the kids are now using it as a playhouse for the branches and everything that fell down from that limb?
We basically, our goal is after any storm event that we would do some type of pickup. At most residents, if we have a storm event, it's for branches that come down. We won't take a whole tree, but anything that would come off of a tree or split off a tree. With the storms as close as they were together recently, we have not been around to pick up all those storm damage events, all the storm branches. We have a large pile on Sauk Trail too, from some evergreens, but we do have multiple piles around town. It's not as many as I thought there would be from the storm. But we're setting up a date here pretty quickly. And our first pickup won't be until May, normal pickup.
Okay.
And it'll be posted we have a posting every year with all of our events throughout the season. It'll be posted at the Village Hall, it'll be posted in the Sauk Talk, and we can post our events on the marquee each time they come around.
Trustee Bird.
Yes, Kevin, could you add, and I think I talked to you about it, could you add Deer Creek to your list of potholes? Because we have a crater over there.
Yes, I was just out there the other day. That's going to be a little more than just a patch. It's going to be a cutout. It's a really soft spot all of a sudden. I don't know why that is, but it's on there. I would prefer to do a permanent one than to do a temporary one and then rip it all back out. So our goal is to do a cutout, yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, move to Administrative Services Director, Director Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Code enforcement court call for March 3rd. We had 104 tickets on the court docket. 5 were found guilty and 99 were found failure to appear, and fines were doubled. 28 letters went out to last known owners for houses that have terminated water service and balanced owed on their accounts, giving them 14 days to pay $950.65. I sent those letters out, actually they went out today, so that's the first thing we have to do. We know the houses are vacant and the letters will come back, but it's a process that we have to do. Houses that have squatters in them are down to, I had 54 today, but by the end of the day it was down to 52. We started out with over 90 plus houses, so that has dropped tremendously. We've been really working hard on that. The other 52 will be turned over to the police department for further investigation, and then will be turned over to Public Works to make sure there is no water service running to the house. As J.W. Fairman said, we are meeting with Republic on Thursday at 10 o'clock with Ernie Lopez. We are going to be recalculating the numbers of houses that are being charged to the village. I have supplied them a copy of the vacant, not eligible list, and have been updating them as needed when homes become eligible. The homes that are not being picked up, that have garbage on the parkway, have been receiving tickets. So they are starting not to pick up these homes, and we're getting quite a few calls about it. So we'll be saving tons of money. I'll have, the next meeting, I'll have a total of how many houses Skyline or Republic are building for us. And lastly, Sauk Village Cafe has received their business license and is scheduled to open on March 14th. They will be open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And this concludes my report.
Thank you very much.
And I forgot to put the R in March.
Yeah.
In my report, if you're going to publish it.
All right. All right, thank you. Go to Finance Director, Director Raul.
Thank you, Mayor and the board. The first installment of county tax levy that was levied by village of Sauk Village, we got the first installment approximately about $1.1 million. Out of $1.1 million, we transferred back to CN money. We borrowed in the amount of $200,000, and also we have returned water and sewer fund, the money we borrowed from water sewer to water sewer in the amount of $350,000. The transfers were made out yesterday in the morning. The next year's audit will be starting pretty soon. The year end is 4/30/2016. The auditors are expected to be here somewhere in the month of May, first week or second week. And the audit for 2014-15 has been or going to be put on our web pretty soon. I don't know whether it has happened already or not. I have spoken to Gerald. Hopefully it should be on the web pretty soon. That ends my report.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor.
Trustee.
Mr. Mohan,
yes.
Is it possible that you could get us a letter or a documentation of how much you paid each one of the accounts that we got the money in? You have documentation when we voted out or immediate check or whatever.
Sure, I should be able to provide.
Yeah, we can have something to, I mean, I understand the 1.1 goes for other things, but I'm looking at what money we borrowed from the different accounts that we can put back and.
Sure, I will provide it most probably tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
To everybody.
Question, Mr. Mohan, I heard 350,000 went back to the water fund.
Water sewer fund, yes.
And 200,000 went back to the CN.
CN money, yes.
Do you know offhand what the balances remain to be paid back, even with those?
For CN money, there is no balance. Everything has been paid off. For water sewer, we still owe approximately about $973,000 or so. But I can get you back the information tomorrow morning.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
All right. Move to Sauk Village Homeland Security Agency and Sergeant Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Over the past 2 weeks, our department has responded to 21 calls. We've responded to 5 fire alarms, 5 vehicle accidents, 1 gas leak, 1 CO alarm, 4 school patrols, 1 car in the ditch, 1 brush fire, 2 power lines down, and 1 smell of gas. That includes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Move to Human Relations Commission, Commissioner Frank Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Human Relations has got papers back there for you to fill out if you want to go to a diversity dinner. It's not held here, but it's held in several villages. The papers are back there, ages 14 and up. Also, this summer, we're planning to get in the back here for the young teenagers to have a talent show from ages 14 to high school. And what we want to do with this is to bring the young kids back into doing things here in the village that is positive. Not so much through the school board or anything like that. We just want to get a group of kids together to go back there. I talked to 2 young men last night, and I thought they were going to be here today. And they was interested in doing things like that. So this is what we're planning to do from now on with the human relations as far as we are concerned. Also is that we are trying to get the village involved in. The next time we have a diversity dinner, that we don't have to depend on their help, that we can do it like we did it before and have it here. That's planning for next year. So thank you very much, and that's in my report.
Thank you, Commissioner. Move to Housing Commission, Commissioner Holcomb.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Housing Commission will be meeting in Village Hall this Thursday at 7 p.m. Also, we're accepting letters for a tentative spot on the Housing Commission. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Hey,
Mr. Mayor.
Do we still need to get you on a committee meeting?
Pardon?
Do we still need to get you on a committee meeting? Have you had, last time you met, you brought your report, you were looking for additional funds, but you were going back to the county to see if they had funds, if they would, you were trying to work someone?
I haven't got a response back from them yet.
Okay, so if you want to get on the committee meeting, please make sure you let me know. If you do get a response, we'll make sure we get you on the committee meeting.
I'll wait until I get the response before. I had explained that to the village clerk. Once I get a response from the county and state, then I'll ask to speak to them.
All right, because I know there's some people asking why I didn't have you on a committee meeting, but last I heard you weren't ready yet.
No.
Okay. Trustee.
I want to thank Gary for all the assistance you give us on running down additional information on the South Park. And you pulled out some fantastic information that was going to be very, very receiving for us. We're probably going to end up not paying anything for it. We found insurance. Thank you.
No problem.
All righty. Move to senior committee report. I have to say, Rose does a great job providing me information, but Rose, I'm not going to read all this. All right, because we'll be here for another half an hour, especially the way I read. But let's go through some of these. On March 6th through the 12th marks the 2016 National Consumer Protection Week. According to its official website, its coordinated campaign encourages consumers nationwide to take full advantage of their consumer rights and make better informed decisions. All right, I'm going to get down here to the bottom. Sorry, Rose. We did a lot of work on this one. But let's talk about what's happening here in Sauk Village here. Senior Committee opens senior activities. It's still open every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and on Friday. And you have Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. It's open from 10 o'clock a.m. to 2 p.m. And on Friday, it's open from 12:30 to 3:30. So we're still making sure it's available for the seniors. Next, we have senior sneaker classes. This is, I hate to inform everyone, it's going to be canceled because the instructor is moving out of town. And we all know the instructor is Bev Sterrett, used to be our finance director. So we're going to miss Bev and her husband, and we wish them best. The next is the 8th annual chili cook-off. It's this Saturday. I can't believe it's already March 12th, from 12 o'clock to 3 p.m. Doors open at 11:30. There's going to be line dancing at noon and judging at 12:30. I'm looking forward to that because I get to be one of the judges. And serving will begin at 1 p.m. All the chili you can eat for $3 per bowl. Coffee is provided. Pop and bottled water will be available at the doors. There's a 50-50 and music by the Morgan family. So it's always a great event if you want to bring your family out. Let's see here. BP screening and movie carousel. Okay, Monday, March 14th at 12:30 p.m. I don't think I've ever seen that one. It's co-sponsored by the McConaughey Library, and it's going to be held at the library. There's light refreshments served, and a brown bag lunch is optional. Bloom Township has the tax preparation by appointment has chair exercise classes, line dancing classes, township community luncheon, Graceland, I like this, Elvis is Alive, Wednesday, March 16th from 11:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tickets, deadline is March 9th, which is tomorrow. So, and our next senior committee meeting will be held this Thursday here in the Senior Center at 7 p.m. So, that's your senior updates. Thank you. And move to new business. Got item A, motion to approve regular board meeting minutes for February the 9th, 2016. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, village clerk, please call roll.
Burgess.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Tate.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Williams.
Motion carries. Item B, motion to approve special meeting minutes for February the 9th, 2016. This is number 1. Is there a motion to approve?
Approved. So moved.
Got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Question.
Trustee Tates.
My copies don't indicate what's 1 and what's 2. It doesn't say number 1 and number 2, so which one are we looking at?
I don't
On
know.
the agenda, it says 1 and 2, but I mean, minutes, it just says the time.
This will be the earliest time. All right. Any other questions? Hearing none, village clerk, please call roll.
Jones.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Tate.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Burgess.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item C, motion to approve special meeting minutes for February the 9th, 2016. This is the second one, which is a later time date. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Question.
Trustee Tates.
Number 4, it says Mayor Hanks reported the resolution in the amount of $25,000 in motor fuel tax funds will supplement the original $150,000 approved early in the year, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't understand. Report the resolution in the amount of, I don't remember seeing the resolution.
There's a resolution. There was, this is what we talked about. Remember, again, I guess there's some new trustees on the board. Every year we pass a resolution on what we estimate we're going to spend. And you know, Jim, why don't you explain this since you're sitting here? Because I had to explain it last time you weren't sitting here.
Sorry, so this past year we estimated that we'd spend $150,000 on maintenance activities for the village's road program and other activities like street signs, light maintenance, things of that nature. Due to the high cost of salt last year, we exceeded that estimate. So the state requires us to submit a supplemental resolution in an additional amount to cover the excess expenditure that the village had.
And that was for $25,000. That's what the supplemental resolution was for.
All right, thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, village clerk, please call roll.
Myers.
Yes.
Tate.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Williams. Williams.
Yes.
Burgess.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item D, motion to approve committee meeting for February the 16th, 2016. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, village clerk, please call roll.
Tate.
No.
Washington.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Burgess.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item E, motion to approve the accounts payable and disbursements for February 23rd, 2016 through March 8th, 2016, according to Sauk Village policy. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Question.
Trustee.
I had asked this question before, and now I'm looking at the second accounts payable. I just need to know, I just wanted an answer before. Mr. Fairman, is he considered an employee or a vendor? Is he considered a... Okay, because we had an immediate check, and that's why I was wondering, because a while back we had an immediate check that was paid to him, and it was Fairman LLC. And I was just wondering if he is a vendor, then he should appear on accounts payable as a vendor like we do our lawyers and our engineering firm. But if he's paid as an employee, I was just wondering, yes, it was an immediate check and it was paid to J.W. Fairman LLC. This was back think about around the end of the year in December. It was an immediate check. That's when we had all those immediate checks, like 16 of them.
Okay.
So I was just wondering, I had asked this question before, never got an answer back, so he's paid as an employee.
Right.
And then we pay him out of payroll, and also we pay Mr. Reed out of payroll. Is that correct?
I believe so.
I don't know, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I'll have to get the answer. He knows off the top of his head.
The village administrator as well as the other part-time contractor, Mr. Reed Paxson, has been paid as a personal contract services. It's not treated as an employee, because if we treat them as an employee, the village is obligated to pay all the payroll taxes and also recover or withhold all the payroll taxes that is due from the employee. Therefore, they are not considered as employees, but considered as contractors, personal service contractors, and hence paid by accounts payable check, in the form of accounts payable check.
Okay, Mohan, so if that's the case, then Mr. Reed should be listed on the accounts payable.
Mr. Reed will also be listed in accounts payable also moving forward.
Okay.
They have been paid out of accounts payable and listed in accounts payable.
Mr. Reed hasn't been listed in the accounts.
Yes, both Mr. Fairman as well as Mr. Reed has been paid out of accounts payable and listed in accounts payable.
I've only seen it, like I said, one time, and that's the reason why I'm asking this question. I had asked Mr. Fairman the other day, because we had to borrow money from, water fund, and we was asked to okay the money from the water fund. I asked him, was he paid up? In other words, is he considered payroll, or is he considered a vendor? If he's considered a vendor, then he should be where all the vendors are, which would be accounts payable. But if he's considered an employee, quite naturally, he would fall under payroll. Now, you're saying that he falls under payroll, but Mr. Reed falls under, I guess, the outside vendor. If he's an outside vendor, he should be listed as an outside vendor, and that's the reason why I'm asking the question.
Yeah.
And
but you said he's been listed, right?
Yes.
Has any other trustee on this board seen Mr. Reed listed as a vendor on accounts payable?
I have not.
I'm just asking the question. Has any other trustee seen Mr. Reed listed on the accounts payable for the last 2 months? I have never seen it.
Both village administrator as well as Mr. Reed Paxson has been listed in accounts payable.
So I guess he's not getting paid this month.
For this, because we have already paid for Mr. Fairman as well as Reed as of last payroll.
Okay. Well,
so moving forward, for both Mr. Fairman as well as Reed, it will appear at the end of the next payroll period on the accounts payable list.
I mean, I just wanted to know for record-keeping services and also who we owe. We owe the lawyers. We know we owe our engineers. I just wanted to know if we owe Mr. Reed and Mr. Fairman money. I'd like to know if we owe that too. So, I mean, I'm just trying to get an accountability.
At the end of March, they will be paid and it will be.
Because I haven't seen it though. I'm not saying that it hasn't been there.
It will be.
But the payroll, accounts payable I've gotten, I haven't seen it this year. So, just wanted to find out.
I will show you.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
Yes, question.
Trustee.
On page 3, Mr. Mohan, who is Parks and Playgrounds? It says Sam's Club Direct, $248, and then Call One phone service, $30.14. On page 3.
What was it?
I think the bill was turned in by trustee Kelvin Jones, I think, expenses. I can get you more information tomorrow. It seems that I think you might have purchased some pop or something like that.
No, money was turned in. This is.
Oh, this is an expense.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Don't you have a Sam's Club credit card?
Nothing of that has ever come out. I mean, what is this accumulation or from? Is this just from?
I can get you the information tomorrow.
Yeah, the invoice is from last year.
Okay. It looks like an expense.
From December?
Okay.
It looks like a credit card expense, but I can get you the information tomorrow.
And that would be the telephone service too. Under Parks and Grounds, call 1, telephone service, $30.
That is the call 1 is the telephone services that is rendered every month. A portion of telephone charges is allocated to Parks and Recreation.
Oh, the phone that's at the community center? Oh, okay.
Any other questions or comments?
I have a question.
Trustee?
If I recall, I thought the auditors had stated that anything that we have on accounts payable should not be bills that we have already paid. Is that correct or not? Anybody home?
Repeat your question. I'm trying to.
We've had a discussion for a couple of months about accounts payable. And it was mentioned that accounts payable are bills to be paid, not bills that have already been paid. And I think that was confirmed by the auditors when they were here. Did I not hear them correctly? That's my question.
We still vote to that they're paid.
That's not what the auditors said.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I think what Trustee Tate is referring to when the auditors were here, Trustee Burgess asked a question about hand checks. And the hand checks that were put, that are normally attached to accounts payable. And he asked the question to the auditors, and at the time, the auditor went kind of back and forth, and she stated that she didn't know what our policy was, but part of the Budget and Finance Committee at our last meeting, what we discussed was having all of the hand checks put on a separate sheet of paper that was not on accounts payable due to Trustee Burgess's question and to what the auditor said. She did say that it was in her opinion that they shouldn't be on there, but again, that she didn't know our policy. So we just chose to change that. But I do see, I think, and not to put words in Trustee Clinton's mouth, but I see on the accounts payable, there is payroll which was already paid and the credit card bill, which was already paid. I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to, Trustee Tate.
Well, I'm referring to, you have the accounts payable in front of you, correct?
Yes.
Okay, on the back of the first page, my pages are not numbered, but on the back of it, you see it starts out with finance meeting, NIU outreach, that's the first item. And then it's about 6 more items. But it indicates that these have already been paid. These are not to be paid. These are not bills that are due. These have already been paid.
But again, when the motion was made is to approve accounts payable according to Sauk Village's policy. So, I mean, it's included in there to approve the accounts payable according to the policy.
But not according to what she just said, Mayor. She just said that it would be placed on a separate page, not part of accounts payable.
What we did as a committee, what we decided upon was about hand checks, because that was what Trustee Burgess' question referred to, was hand checks. We did not discuss payroll or any credit card payments. That was not part of the discussion that we had as a committee. When Trustee Burgess asked the question, he discussed, maybe they were going to be a basic hand check for a vendor or something like that. But I see what you're asking about. That page was Trustee Burgess did ask that question, but if you remember, I don't know if maybe she didn't fully understand the question, or if she just didn't want to answer based on not knowing our policy, but she did state that she didn't know, she was not aware of how we did things or what our policy was, so she didn't really know how to answer it, but in her opinion, hand check shouldn't be on the accounts payable.
Okay, as you and your committee move forward on this issue, are you going to include credit cards with the immediate check portion you're doing?
Like I just stated, I invited Trustee Myers to kind of review that at our next meeting when we have it this month. If the committee thinks that this is a move that we need to change to adjust credit card payments, then we will let the board know. As we did, when I brought up Trustee Burgess' concern, the committee decided to add a separate sheet of paper. So at our next meeting, it was something that we discussed. And should there be a change, we'll let the board know.
Okay, thank you. Second question, Mayor. On page 1, the third item shows $75 that were utilized from the village funds to pay for flowers for a deceased individual. Normally, I think donations are collected from employees who want to donate to purchase flowers. It's not taken from the entity's funds. But is that the way that you do it?
It's always been done this way, especially for village employees. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, Village Clerk, please call roll.
Yes.
Williams? Burgess?
Well, I'll just put it this way. I have no problem with saying yes, but I still want those other questions answered, so yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Tate?
No.
Motion carries.
Can I just make a comment on the accounts payable? I know, which is a great thing that we're getting our agenda a lot earlier. It would help if we could get the accounts payable at the same time. I don't know what's the...
When are you doing accounts payables?
Oh, it was done
yesterday.
Monday.
Okay, so
Morning around 8.
okay, so we're getting stuff out earlier. Let's see if we can start getting it out earlier. See if we can get it out by Fridays, because we've been trying to get the agendas out by Friday. So I challenge you to start getting accounts payable done by Friday. Thank you. Since I've been challenged, I'm challenging you. All right, move on to number 7, miscellaneous comments from the Mayor and Board of Trustees. Start with Trustee Williams, since you're on the phone.
No, thank you.
Trustee Myers.
Chief, as soon as you get a chance, I know you've been pretty busy, could you give me the total amount of snow parking tickets that was issued this last major snowfall? That's all I have. Thank you.
Trustee Tate.
Chief. Chief Kowalski. I have an individual that is willing to repair bicycles. Now, I understand that the village, Mr. Weller, I'm not sure if it's in your shop or if it's in the police's shop, there are bicycles somewhere in Sauk Village. And he's willing to repair them, and I guess you could have an auction or something and give them away to kids in the village.
You know, that was brought to my attention when I first got here, and I worked with Kevin. They sit in a big trailer over by Public Works, and I have a key, Kevin's got a key. If somebody's willing to do that, you know, let's take this offline. You and I, and Kevin, we could work on this. And I think that would be nice in the springtime for some of the families that can't afford bikes. I would, you know, if we could pony up some money, I'm not opposed to giving them away.
All right, I'll get with you offline.
Okay,
and
that'd be perfect.
We'll talk about that.
In fact, Kevin and I had talked about that in the past. So.
Well, maybe I shouldn't get involved in it.
No, you got somebody. You got somebody, so that's what we're gonna need, because I know his crew won't be able to work on them. So if you have somebody that's willing to help, that'd be great. That would be a plus for a lot of the families, because we know a lot of the families can't afford bikes. And there's some nice bikes in there.
All right, thank you. My second question is, who is the economic director for Sauk Village? Who holds that position?
What?
Economic Development Director?
We don't have a director. I mean, I've got economic development. Why we need?
Well, that's what's included in the bill from the attorneys, that they had some interaction with the economic director.
Okay.
And they also use a community development director. So I'm just wondering who those positions are occupied by.
Economic development would be me, and that was probably, if we probably looked at, was at the meeting we had here with WinPAC? It's probably the WinPAC meetings that we had, try to get that moved forward. We had multiple meetings with WinPAC, and we had one large meeting here where we had ComEd, the attorneys, the engineers, everyone came in for that one.
And the community development, is that also you?
Community development, that'd be Sherry, right? Yeah, I don't know so either. Huh?
The final thing I have is that there was some discussion about a shooting range, and I don't recall the board even talking about approving a shooting range. Am I missing something? It's nice for the audience to answer.
I'll help you with that one, because I heard something like that too when I got here. And I had heard Enbridge was gonna do a berm for a shooting range, and there was supposedly some money for it. But this was way before I got here, and I guess nothing ever come of it.
The board had a couple different people that approached them about putting a gun range in. In fact, one was over by Chicago Air Power. They wanted to put one in there. Another group came in and wanted to put inside TIF area number 2, maybe a little bit more to the south, still within Sauk Village, to build a whole entire new facility. They looked at back here before they found out it was forest preserve property. So that nothing has ever come about. They just businesses coming and looking at putting shooting ranges inside Sauk Village, indoor shooting ranges.
So we're not doing anything with regards to that?
No.
Okay.
No, and the other thing too, Trustee Tate, just for your information, because Cook County has such strict regulations, some of the people who would want to come and use those would want to use automatic weapons, and those are not allowed in Cook County.
Correct. All right, thank you very much.
Anything else?
Mayor, can I answer Trustee Tate's question?
Sure, go ahead.
Economic Development Director's position is not available right now, but Mary Thompson of P.L.A.N. McKenna will act as advisor to Village of Sauk Village. That's how the name propped up in the legal bill. And Sherry Jasinski is the Community Development Director also, in addition to Administrative Services Director.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Hey, Trustee Jones?
Kevin, I got a question. Well, it was brought up to my attention about, I guess this was before I got here. There was some lockers donated for the gym, and I just want to know, are they here, or what's going on with that?
Yes, there was one of the residents had a connection with with the store, I guess, that they were remodeling. They gave us access to what they had of his lockers. There was probably 9 sets of lockers, 3 sets of which are in good enough shape to put somewhere. Basically, we're just waiting on where they want to go, and then we have to secure them so they cannot be pulled down. But there's only 3 sets. They're small 12 by 12 locker sets, so it'd be more for a pair of shoes, you know, some miscellaneous items. Then anybody else that would have to use them, they would have to bring their own locks. First things first is, I don't know where you want them, because if we put them in an area you're going to use the room, then we'd have to remove them again. So we do have them, it's just a matter of where do you want them put.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, before you do your part, I have one question.
Trustee Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to remind everybody that we are having rehearsal every Saturday, and if you know anybody that's interested in being in the play, they want to be a star in Sauk Village, we have people inside the village as well as coming from outside of the village. The play is going to be very comical but informative, and is entitled Are You My Neighbor? So the Neighborhood Watch Committee is putting on this play and pushing for community involvement. The whole purpose of the play is not just to raise funds for book bags, but to also get the community out and involved to interact with each other in a positive way. And that concludes what I have to say.
Trustee Burgess.
I just have one question. Are we having a meeting next Tuesday?
Yeah, what?
Pardon? Okay. You're planning?
As long as there's something for go on the agenda.
Okay. I just wanted to know because, you know, I can make my week up. That's what I was trying to find out when we having a meeting next week.
Okay. Right now, it's on the schedule.
Okay. I have nothing else. Thank you.
All right. Do you have something else?
One thing, and maybe you can ask the attorney, because it was brought up earlier in the public comment. I had talked about a few weeks ago about a state statute that addressed the removal of the treasurer. And you stated that there's a statute that says he has to stay in. The statute I have does not state that, and I want you to relate it to the attorney, and I can provide it with the sites if he needed it. That's all I have.
There's a lot of talk tonight, and I've heard talk about the village treasurer. I think anything that we do, we're trying to do our best to stay out of litigation. And the state statute, it does talk about, and you can have it pulled, and it talks about they have to be convicted. There is some other things on there that if you want to really stretch it talks about them, they have to be able to do their duties. However, we have refused to let the treasurer in here to do his duties. So it is the villages. The village is the one that's stopping. You know what? The village is the one that's stopping the treasurer from doing his position. So again, when you look at stuff, and I've asked the attorneys to look at it, I've talked to other mayors and things like that. We're looking to stay out of litigation. The village treasurer has not been convicted. Okay? The state statute makes it very clear. Once he's convicted, we can remove him. Okay? So again, we're looking on the best behalf of the residents to try to keep us out of litigation. That's why we're not, we're letting the investigations go forward. And we continue to pay him his $180-some every 2 weeks. Because the way the state statute is written. You can talk to the attorney, you can show him whatever you have. But again, we've looked into this and trying to stay out of further litigation to try to put further guilt on someone that has not been convicted. So, the couple things I just want to discuss here is, you know, I know there's been some residents that I guess you could say that does not like the things that we're doing, probably under my leadership. However, you know, when I was elected, I said I would stick to doing the tough decisions, and that's what we had to do. There's been a lot of tough decisions in the last 2 years. There's going to be a lot more tough decisions in the 2 years to come, or in the next year or so. I made a promise to the residents when elected I would make those tough decisions. Sometimes when you make those tough decisions, you're not liked. Okay? And continue to move Sauk Village forward. That's what's important. We're going to continue to try to work with this board. I'm going to continue to try to get this board to work together. Okay? We're all adults sitting up here. You know, and it's concerning that when we have adults that sit in the audience that cannot show common courtesy, they're belligerent. It's sad. So it's sad when we have grown adults that sit up here that cannot work together. That's also sad. You know, said for many years, you know, there's nothing wrong with disagreeing. It's wrong to be disagreeable. I've been on this board for many years, and I may not have agreed with everyone that sat on this board, but I didn't get to a point where it was such bitterness and I could not work with someone. And that's what we've seen. Okay? And that's what's sad. It doesn't matter who it is. Okay? Now, do we come up here and do we plead our case? Yes, we do. We'll sit down here on a committee meeting night and we'll go back and forth. There's nothing wrong with that. But you know, when I look at as elected officials, we're almost like attorneys. How many times do you see attorneys get in court and they go back and forth, defense and plaintiff, back and forth. And as they're walking out, you see the lawyer saying, hey, how's your wife and kids doing? Let's make sure we go out and get a cup of coffee someday. You know, that's the way I look at this position. I'm going to plead my case. I'm going to do everything I can, especially when I was a trustee, to try to get a vote across. But when that vote was over, I was able to work with former trustees and other trustees on other matters to continue moving forward. We didn't all agree on all things. And you know what? That's why we live in America. We don't have to agree on all things. Okay? So, first of all, you know, the tough decisions are hard and you're not liked for making tough decisions, and I knew that. So, but I will continue making the tough decisions and for Sauk Village. And it's proved the tough decisions that we made for the past 3 years, our deficit has reduced. Look at the audits. Last year we reduced our deficit by over $2 million. Those are tough decisions that we had to make, and we've done it. So you look at the ending balance and you look at the beginning balance. Okay, and the attorneys made it very, I'm sorry, the auditors made it very clear during the presentation. So this next year we've already started looking at the budget. This budget's very challenging. It's probably one of the worst budgets I've had to deal with, and I thought last year was a bad budget. Okay? This is probably one of the most challenging budgets I've ever faced in all the years as being an elected official. We see that some of the challenges that face us is down in Springfield. There's uncertainty. Springfield is still without a budget. We don't know what direction. We don't know what funds are going to be coming to the village. We rely heavily on those funds. Now, last year's budget was a worst-case scenario. Because we were proactive and did a worst-case scenario budget, we ended the year off pretty good. You know, we don't have any extra money, but you know what? We made it through the year. This next year's budget is going to be a worst-case scenario. I'm coming to this village board, and you know what? It's going to be a worst-case scenario. It's going to be even tighter than it was last year. I'm going to be very honest with you. Okay? Now, while you look in the newspaper and you read the news, look at other communities who did not take a worst-case scenario, and they spent money just like they thought it was going to be coming in. You read in the newspaper, University Park is just laying off how many police officers and up to 30 and 40 employees, and they're shutting down community-run centers. That's University Park. That's the first one you're hearing about. There's going to be many others. Okay? We're going to do our best to continue providing services for the village residents, but I'll tell you what, our services are ran through volunteers. It's always been that way. It's ran through volunteers and it's ran through donations. We're going to continue going out there and we're going to try our best to continue to put on these events and continue to put on services for the residents, but it's going to be a tight year. You don't have to look very far. Take a look in the news, take a read in your newspaper, you're finding out it's tight everywhere. So as I go through this budget, I'll be presenting it to Trustee Myers and Trustee Williams. I don't have a date, I do not have a timeline because I've got so much. There's a lot of things that's affecting us this year in this budget. We know that we got pension reform. Okay? This is not something that happened in the last 2 years, no matter what anyone says. All right? This is something that has affected almost every single community in the state of Illinois. The state of Illinois is how many $1 billion in deficit for their pensions. Okay? So don't let anyone tell you that for the last 2 years we've gone down. Okay? So we know that there's changes in pension reform. We know that the state doesn't have a budget yet. We don't know where the state's heading with their budget. You know, I keep on getting pushed out. The last time I talked to our state representatives, they're talking about not having a state budget until January of next year. State of Illinois. Until January of next year, that's what they're looking at. And they're hoping. There's nothing that says they're going to have a budget by January next year. The other thing, too, is remember, as a municipality, we have to pass a balanced budget. So there's a lot of looking into, and I'm going to be going back to the department heads. Department heads have already turned everything into Mohan. Mohan has already put everything down on paper, and I've already put my red pen to it. I'm going back to, I'm going to have to sit down with every single department head and ask, what do you need and why? And they're going to have to come back and tell me why they need it, and we're going to have to figure out how the money's coming in. Okay? Every single budget line item has got less money, I think, in it this year than it had last year. Fire department had over $500,000 in their fire fund last year coming in. This year, they only estimate just a little over $400,000 in the fire fund coming in. So, 478. Where last year they had over $500,000 come in. This is projected revenues. So just kind of give you an idea on what we're looking at this next year. So if you just feel my frustration right now, as the many hours that we're going through this. And then again, the hours it's going to take. Next week, I've already told Mohan and I've told JW, put a day aside. I'm taking a vacation day. We're going to take the whole entire day to go back through the changes that I'm going to be recommending and then trying to call the department heads in to review those. So I'm taking a personal vacation day just so I can work on this budget, okay? The other thing too is we've got 2 full weekends this month. If you're not doing anything, come out, okay? Think about this. This next Saturday, first of all, we got to meet the mayor. We're meeting out there in the hallway. I've invited elected officials that are up for election if they want to come and meet the residents. I don't know if they're going to be coming, but you know, if they come, it gives you a chance to meet them. So we're going to open up again. We'll take questions, we'll take comments from residents, and hopefully we'll see some elected officials coming out, and you can see them and ask questions before voting comes up. Also, the same day we've got the senior cookout, senior chili cook-off. We've already talked about that. So from 9 to 11, meet the mayor, and then from 12 to 3, you've got chili cook-off. You get a break, and then it's the last week is March 26th. I think I wrote down the 23rd. I think it's the 26th. The day before Easter. We've got Easter egg hunt here at the Village Hall through the Parks and Recs. And that's going to be from 11 to 2 p.m. And then the Church of God, they're having theirs, their famous Easter egg hunt out there at the Church of God from 1 to 3. And I've got notes here. 20,000 eggs, 100 Easter baskets, drawings for 5 boys and 5 girls bikes, and they got free food in their fellowship hall. So there's going to be a full day on the 26th. And lastly, this week, on Saturday or Sunday, however you do it, if you turn your clocks back, we go forward, don't we? If you turn your clocks forward 1 hour on Saturday night before you go to bed, or if you do it Sunday morning when you get up, this Saturday is spring forward. So make sure you mark your calendars and mark your clocks. All right, with that said, ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Got a motion, got a second? Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. All right, meeting adjourned.